me from my winter hell. I've got candles and candy. I can be your daddy if you only let me creep into your prison cell. Hey baby, can you tell I'm not a criminal? Your choice is seminal. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say. Just find your way and try to stay true. Speak low, stand in your row. Try not to show this life's a show. Try not to glow. Way down below, it's a lot of woe. And that's not a place where you would like to go. I've got cigarettes and brandy, which could come in handy if you just help me loosen up my hand grenades fuse. Baby, don't refuse my truth, but it's up to you now to choose. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say. Just find your way and try to stay true. I want you to stay true to what's right for you. No matter who or know what will others say. Just find your way and try to stay true, 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 true.
Well, hey, party people. How's everybody doing? Mike, Mike. Guess what day it is? Hump day. Hope everybody is doing very, very well. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. We're halfway there. It's almost the weekend. And then it's Thanksgiving in America, in the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands. Um, so I hope everybody's prepared for that. I know the holidays are a very hectic time. There's some there can be sometimes some uncomfortable conversations at the dinner table. We're making small talk with relatives you don't know very well and only see at Thanksgiving. So it's not like you really get an opportunity. You don't really know. It's hard to make small talk when you don't see them very often. But it's Thanksgiving, it's the holidays. I'm very excited because um it'll be on the 6th of December. It'll be a year that since we've been back home in Texas, and this will be the first Christmas that my husband and I are in our own place that our kids have never lived in. And it's kind of exciting because the other houses, it's kind of you do feel like an empty nester, and it's kind of a sad thing whenever you or kids move out of that house. But then when you get to start over and you are still an empty nester, I mean, I'll be an empty nester from now on, but it's not as sad. It's kind of exciting. So yeah. Um Yeah, so that's what's going on. I want to tell you guys. So tonight we're gonna listen to this call while Sarah Boone was in jail. Now, um, this call is before her sentencing, so she's going to discuss her letter. Hold on a second. Ow. Okay, she's gonna. I have to fix my headphones. They're like sitting on my head weird and kind of uncomfortable. Anyway, Um, so she's going to discuss her Kintsukuroi and forgiveness. It's going to be fantastic. The channel that has these is called Hear Me Out. I put the channel in the description already. When Tess emailed me the link and I clicked it, I was so excited to see that it was Hear Me Out. I follow Hear Me Out. I watch. I'm just always in the bushes. And no, we're done with Diane. We did her last bit of her 2025 parole hearing. We didn't we I th- I- we got to the part really where she talks about her parole plan, but I mean it's the same every time. So yeah, I just kind of ended it there, and then we've got a trial that we're going to cover, and then we'll get into Susan Smith. I think we'll do the mothers who kill in between trials. I think that would be the. I think that's the best way to go. So I was so pleasantly surprised to see that Tess had shared Hear Me Out's link, and here's why. Because I followed Hear Me Out. I think he does a really good job. He's really funny. And he has some really good ethics, and that came out weird. He is incredibly ethical, and why the reason I say that is because I was scrolling my feed, I don't know, maybe a week ago, and I came across a post from Hear Me Out on that he had written, and basically, it was a choice not to talk about some of these journal entries that have become public because of the content of them. That Sarah speaks horribly of George and his family, including his children. And he just didn't feel that it was right to do that, that it wasn't ethical. And I applaud him for that. Sure, um, it would have been the subject of, would have been something to talk about, but I understand his choice and I respect his choice. When Allie and I got these last batch of Letitia calls, Letitia and her little friend had had a couple of discussions that quite frankly were disgusting, and I didn't want them on my channel at all. I don't support, bigotry. I don't support, um, any of the transphobia. I don't support any of that. And I mean, I think we all can safely say that Letitia is, evil incarnate. I don't think we need any more examples. I told you guys what was on them. I'm just not going to put them on my channel. And I just don't think the world needs any more of that kind of negativity. I think we see enough of it. And I just didn't want to highlight that on the channel. I just didn't think it was right. And um, that is why I really appreciate Hear Me Out's channel. So if you don't know, close out the chat real quick, read the description. I've tagged his channel in the description and go give it a subscribe. Um, Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Hey, the pretend judge says, I'm a mod for Hear Me Out. If he decides not to read it, it is nothing I ever need to hear, 100%. Yeah, I really, I know that's hard as a creator. I don't even like to say that. I don't like that term, but that's the term YouTube uses. As somebody who has a channel who puts out content, um, I understand how difficult those choices can be. And sure, it would have been salacious and something to talk about, and it would have further exemplified the true evilness that is Sarah Catherine Boone, 101077. But I think we have enough of those examples. And it would have done, thank you, Tess. What it really would have done is hurt um, George's family. And hasn't Sarah done enough to hurt them? So I feel like, I just really respect creators who are ethical. And I think that rather than talking about the ones who are just like, YOLO, I ain't gonna have any ethics or morals today, tomorrow, next week ain't looking good either. Um, I'd rather highlight the ones that do. So with that being said, there is a little commentary through this. I'm not gonna like play his commentary because I think you guys, I want you to go listen to what he has to say, um, on his channel. I think, hold on a second.
The less.
All right. So I want you guys to hear his commentary. So I'm going to try to skip through it as much as I can. But I definitely want you guys to go check out Hear Me Out for reals. Okay. Hey, ATS News. Let me say hi to you guys really quickly before we get started. I haven't done that in a while and I miss everybody and I need to greet you guys. Okay. Hey, futuristically fractious, Melanie Jenks, Broken Justice, good to see you. Barbecue Queen, good to see you. Preschool Granny, Melissa McCoy, it's good to see you. Karen, hey, there's me again. Hey, Tori, good to see you, babe. Miss you. I hope everything's going great for you. I just, on a side note, if you're still here, Tori, I play my granddaughter that the koala bear that gets thrown out of the tree by the other koala bear and is having a tantrum on the sidewalk, and she loves it. So shout out to you for that because like she thinks I'm so cool because I know that video. Hey, Lisa, good to see you. Tess, good to see you too. Becky, good to see you, babe. Welcome in. Hey, Lisa. Welcome in. Carolina, good to see you. And thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the ward. ATS and News. Hey, Coffee and Skeletons. Good to see you as well. It's good to see all of you guys. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Jude. Hey, Jude. Don't make it bad. Hey, Creative Minds. Good to see you. The Pretend Judge. I think I got everybody. Boss Lady, hey. Hey, Dan, good to see you. Welcome in. All right, I think I got everybody. Chicken Shite, what up? Let's see. I think so. I think that's everybody. Sarah Bellum, hey, babe. There's old Nightbot. What up, Nightbot? I think I am dying at this name, though. Futuristically fractious. Hey, Justified. Hey, Boo Sheet. Bushit, I saw the update and there's a new search and I'm cautiously optimistic. I really am. Hey, Justified, I don't remember if I said hi or not, but hey. All right, are you guys ready? Shall we begin? Let's begin. All right, here we go.
Commentary version now.
An inmate at the Orange County Corrections. You there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, well, so yes. Hello, baby. Her vernacular does drive me nuts.
It drives everybody nuts. Hear me out. Yeah.
As well. I can't.
She's the smartest woman in the room at all times. I mean, come on, give it up to Sarah Catherine Boone, 101077. What are you doing?
I can't stand it sometimes. It's just so exhausting and fractious.
It is
Okay, thank you. That was my free phone call that we get on Sundays, and it's only 5 minutes. So
Okay.
thank you for your patience. I don't remember what I was saying.
Why does she sound like thank you for your patience? Why does she already, I mean, right off the bat, why does she sound like she's taking a call at the customer in the customer service department? Honestly, Sarah, get it together. I mean, there is nothing warm about this woman. Hey, look, Carolina's in the chat over here. Hi. Here we go.
Oh, the letters. So anybody who I had
Letters.
asked, I told them to send it to you, to send it to James, and to send it to. But I don't know if they did all of that. And I was just going to, if I had to triple make sure that it was there between the three of you guys, I was going to just do that.
Uh-huh.
And James is notorious for losing things, or I don't know if you know, but we've had to send things to him hundreds of times. Are you?
Yeah, look, Sarah. Okay. James came on at the last minute, and I don't know what in his first meeting with you, his second meeting. I mean, it took several meetings before he would even agree to be your attorney. I don't know what made you think that he was going to be like, on it. But yeah, I don't know why you're surprised. Shut up, Sarah.
Even able to just print stuff out and hand it to him when we're in the courtroom. Remember, James is supposed to be here today. I don't know what he's doing. He's not answering his phone to this present moment. I tried calling him 3 times between yesterday evening and today.
Sarah, that's another problem that you have. You continuously blow people's phones up with calls over and over and over, and they find it unsettling. And I don't blame them. I feel if you called my phone that many times, it would be unsettling to me as well. Sometimes people just don't want to talk to you. Have you met you?
So I don't know when he's supposed to even be here. But my goal, yes, if you would like me to call you around 1 o'clock, I can do that.
Yeah.
I wanted to find out, too, are you going to track his ass down tomorrow, considering that you're here, to introduce yourself and to say what's going on? Wait for him in the courtroom afterwards to let him know, and I'm going to tell him, please go introduce yourself.
Try and talk to him and see if he had a minute where I can, figure out what the hell's going on with the family law thing and everything else.
Yes, and while you are in his face.
So we already decided earlier, right, that she's not, like, Owens was never her family attorney. Maybe he agreed he would look at some of the stuff, but I think it was more just like.
I think he agreed so Sarah would shut up, if you want to know the truth. No, I didn't do any of this. That is, Melissa, that is hear me out. He did all of this. But yeah, I can't take credit for that. I like how he gave her the laser eyes as well. Well done, hear me out. Also, this right here. It annoys me so much how she acts like everyone works for her. Yes, she just sits there and tells everybody what to do all the time. This is why people don't like you, Sarah. You're just not a good person, even outside of the murder, right? Like even before you killed George, you weren't a good person. You're not a nice person. You're just like, have you met you? Are you, have you?
You never made an appearance, right?
No, ever.
Yep, 100%.
Hold on.
Once I'm sentenced, really, please.
Right? It's just procedural stuff, maybe?
I totally please take advantage of his time, because other than this, once I'm sentenced, it's peace out, so.
Yep, 100%.
Okay. And yes.
How are you feeling? Are you nervous, or what's going on in your head?
I'm not really nervous, to be honest with you. I am very confident, especially with the amount of people that I have coming to represent me, either in a letter, an email, or in person. I wanted to talk to you for a moment about my statement and what you sent me information-wise in regards to.
I don't know who this person is that she's talking about, but etiquette dictates that when somebody asks you how you're doing, you ask back. You ask them how they're doing, or at least say thanks for asking. In all of Sarah's letters, and I've read them all, they're in a playlist on the channel if you ever want to go back and just read them. She has always said, what a victim she is, how nobody's helping her. She's kind of like Donkey when he met Shrek, I'm all alone. There's no one here beside me. Yeah. And, she's so downtrodden and the underdog. And then she finally has one person, maybe two, or according to her, all these people that are coming in support of her. And if I remember correctly, there was like maybe 4 people who spoke for her, if I remember. Yes, Tess. Tess says, here's my question. Does Boone actually believe all the bullshit she's saying? That's what I really wonder. Yes. Yes, she does. She believes it. She absolutely believes it. And the only reason I know that is because I remember when she referenced videos that she had taken of George that prove how horrible he is. Okay. And those videos were used at her trial against her. I mean, she really thought that those videos showed her to be the victim. Yes, I think she absolutely believes everything that's coming out of her mouth.
How the judge could cut me off or interrupt me.
Mm-hmm.
The case relevance to my case. I'm going to talk about forgiveness of Jorge Torres' family, social media, my 3 prior attorneys, both judges, the jury, and myself, the prosecutor and the detective. So I didn't know if that was too much or whatever, but I read it to Lana, and she was freaking floored and said, don't be afraid of the judge and just keep doing it, because if he does interrupt you, then it's going to be an appellate issue.
Literally the worst advice ever. I don't know who you are, ma'am, that told her that she should just say it how it is and not to be afraid of the judge, because if he interrupts her, it's an appellate issue. I don't know how that's an appellate issue. Do you understand what she's doing? Do you understand what the purpose of that allocution is? The allocution is sentencing. She's already been found guilty. Okay. Is she entitled to say something? Yes, every defendant is entitled to make an allocution. The defendant is not allowed to say whatever. I mean, for the most part, there are times when a judge can stop a defendant from saying something if the language is abusive. He never, as awful as that. Oh, that's who she is. That's right. I remember now. Okay. JT says, Lana is the lady who was texting with Sarah every day and spoke in favor of Sarah at the trial. She's no longer alive. I remember her now. Okay. But that was horrible advice, Lana. I mean, from a, from like what you want to say at an allocution, horrible advice. Okay. Although when she then said what she said at her allocution and then went ahead and forwarded the whole letter without James Owen's redactions, it was great for us. But it was also, how dare you sit and forgive George's family? They didn't do anything to you. And I feel like I can safely say, speaking for all of social media, you can go and forgive yourself, Sarah. We don't care. We don't need your forgiveness. We don't want your forgiveness. Yeah. Keep it pushing, ho. We don't care. We don't need your forgiveness. I slept just fine before I had your forgiveness. And even if I'd have never gotten your forgiveness, I'll sleep just fine afterwards. The friendship door, Sarah, is closed.
That's got to be the dumbest advice ever.
Yes.
It was. But it's so dumb.
It was.
Even to somebody who's not trained in the law can know how dumb that sounds.
Yeah. It's dumb.
And you should always be afraid of the judge, because the judge can do whatever she wants, or he or she, when in the case, whatever, judges in general.
I mean, look, here's the deal. Sarah has the right to maintain her innocence, even during her allocution. Okay. It's not mandatory that she admit guilt. It's part of her constitutional right. But if you're going to choose to maintain your innocence and work through the appeals, then shut your mouth at the allocution. Don't say anything. Just because you're afforded the right to speak doesn't mean you have to. Yes. Where is this? Where is this? Where it happened? The pretend judge says, I forgive Sarah for the unwanted forgiveness. For real, for real. Go forgive yourself, Sarah.
The judge controls the courtroom. That's his literal or their literal or her literal role, controlling the courtroom with the help of these armed deputies that are standing around.
But I don't want him to stop me in the middle of it.
Now, see, wouldn't it have been funnier? I think it would have been more appropriate if during that allocution, when she had on the shock, I wish she would have been wearing a shock vest or belt or whatever. The deputy's hand slipped. If it look, I'm telling y'all right now, this is why I can't be in the courtroom in any professional capacity other than to be an observer. Okay. Don't put the button in my hand, because I'm telling you right now, it would have slipped accidentally on purpose many times. It would have been bad news bears for Sarah. All right, here we go.
And, I'm on flow, like getting it. And then him say, you can't read that any longer. So I'm starting off with, it's forgiveness. Okay. It's forgiveness. So I'm forgiving first off Jorge Torres. And I'm forgiving him for, beating, spitting, raping, beating, all of that. I'm forgiving him for all of that.
Okay. This is where Sarah loses me every single time. Okay. It's the way she describes what Jorge allegedly did to her. Okay. It's very nonchalant. Okay. She lists off the items of wrongness that Jorge has perpetrated upon her in the way that I would list off things like things that my husband does that annoys me. What does he do that annoys me? Now that I'm pressed to give an example, I can't really think of one, but he does do things that annoy me. Oh, let's see. He leaves his socks wadded up and then throws them in the dirty clothes hamper, and then I have to unwad them. That is annoying. He will get the last. Oh, I'll tell you what he did recently. I was so excited. He brought home a can of bean dip, Fritos bean dip, and Fritos. That thing had not even been in this house for 24 hours. On the 28th hour, I decided, you know what? Let me go. And I want a snack. I want some Fritos and bean dip. Do y'all know I went in that pantry and it was empty? It was gone. There was no bean dip to be had. I didn't get one Frito, not one Frito with bean dip, nothing. That's how she lists this off. Like, you know what he did the other day? He took the last Pepsi. Like, it's so nonchalant. This is why this is where she loses it for me. And there isn't anything in those videos that were shown that, I don't know, nothing. This is what I think. I do think that, I think Sarah would start it with Jorge. I do. I think that she hit him first. And I think after a while, he hit her back. That's what I think. Does it make it right? Absolutely not. Neither one of them should put their hands on each other. But I don't think all the other things that she has said that he's done, that he's done.
Okay. But nothing actually.
All that.
Then that's
so nonchalant in the way she says it.
See?
All the
NBD, no big deal. We're going to skip right through that.
Wouldn't know if you.
light in my actual case. So I made a list of some of the things that he had done to me, and I was forgiving him for. Okay.
Um, hey, Lady fucking T. Thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the ward. Good to have you. All right, here we go. All the things that he's done for, leaving the toilet seat up, not putting the toothpaste on the cap. And when he does use the toothpaste, he squeezes from the top, not from the bottom of the tube. That old son of a bitch. That's how she talks about it. So, whatevs.
Okay.
My second one is going to be I forgive his family for not intervening, for helping and knowing who he was and what he did.
Oh, Jesus.
And to throw out there also about Pharrell stabbing the mother of his baby in the side of his head, which, talks about the violence in their family.
Yeah, that's a fantastic thing to do. Victim blame. Victim blame. That's perfect. Victim blame. And then while you're at it, while the family is sitting in that courtroom, okay, you saw their breakdown. You know that when they heard George in that suitcase, his mom, she had a moment. She did. Who can blame her? I would have had a moment too. My moment probably would have been climbing over those people and getting to Sarah Boone and just shaking the shit out of her. I would have been pissed. Okay. I think that so yeah, let's just add insult to injury and bring up their other son that has nothing to do with any of this.
Does Sarah have anyone in her family that's had problems with the law?
Oh, she does.
Since we're talking
she
about
does.
genetic disposition of crimes or something.
Get her, hear me out.
I think she had a brother that did something, right?
Yeah, she did. You're right.
I mean, it's split second
Indeed.
blip on the radar.
Listen, I might have to reach out to hear me out. I would like to do a panel with him. I really would. I find him highly entertaining. And he says a lot of the things that I say, which I like even more.
And then I was going to forgive social media for their insensitivity and
We don't care.
How I am, where I am, and who they have depicted me as.
We don't
And
care.
forgive them for that.
We don't
And then I
care.
was going to forgive the judge for making me pro se, for kicking me when I was down, for
He don't care.
not listening. And basically that's what it is. And then I was going to write, and then I wrote.
Yeah, that's what I thought. In one that wasn't as inept as Lauren and actually had victims. But yeah, does that mean she's also could be
Predisposed to evil?
Chomo? Their family.
Yikes.
Did your ex-husband say anything about you being violent and scratching?
He did. He did.
About the detectives and their trickery and
Their
coercion,
trickery.
and why didn't they take the bloody pillowcase of mine? Why didn't they take the butcher knife and the garden claw? Why didn't they do anything like that? So I'm forgiving them for that. And then the prosecutor, I was forgiving him for his errors during the trial to cause confusion and dysfunction to the jury, which equaled them giving me the sentence that they did. And then the jury I was going to forgive for not understanding and being confused and being hungry and away from their family for 2 weeks,
Being hungry. Those jurors weren't starved. Shut up, Sarah Boone. Look. Hold on a minute. We need a moment. We need a few things. Here we go.
I'm so tired of you.
And also,
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
and finally,
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Oh, wow. Hold on a second. Tess celebrates 29 months of membership. I forgive my fellow ward for laughing at Boone. Thank you, Tess. Thank you. Yes, Sarah, unlike you, Boone, the jurors get snacks. I bet they even get Pop-Tarts. Guess what you don't get? Pop-Tarts, you don't get no mints. You didn't get a juice box. You didn't get some nuts, some fruit snacks, nothing. That's what you get. It really does. It really does. That's why I told Sarah she can go forgive herself because honestly, that's what she's saying, really. Hold on. I think I might have a video for that. This is Sarah right now.
Ah, fuck.
Oh, Cartman. Fuck. Sarah, you get nothing and like it.
In full capacity, and I feel that it was a rushed decision, and I forgive them for that.
It is also interesting with people like Sarah, these narcissists, and like Diane Downs, right? These narratives they can construct to explain away everything, pushing the responsibility of what they've done on.
I have to agree with you. Hear me out. Everybody else is to blame for everything in their life. You know what I mean? Like Diane Downs has an answer every single time she was, asked about any of her hold on a second. Any of her crimes, any of the times that she got a disciplinary report in prison, everybody else was to blame. I think I might have skipped a little bit. Hold on. I don't want to. All right, hold on. It's hard to.
Like, I don't know. How could you not know you're making it up?
They know they're
I guess
making
with reasons
it up.
about the jury, it's not you couldn't definitively say that it was made up, but just these ideas, like how, I wouldn't think of this stuff. Well, how do you explain the jury finding you guilty, Sarah?
Nobody thinks of this stuff. Hear me out. This is this level of bitch acidness only exists in a few people's brains at this level. Everybody has a level of bitch acidness in themselves, even me. Okay. But this high level of bitch acidness and circular logic, thankfully, at this level, doesn't exist in many people.
They wanted to see their family. They were hungry.
That's why they found her guilty so quick.
Oh, okay.
They could have just as easily found her
What about
not
the case?
guilty.
The prosecutor screwed up. Made it confusing.
I thought they did a fantastic job, especially the Star Wars reference. That was my personal favorite.
Okay. The investigation, the detectives, they didn't take out the evidence.
I understand about them being away from their family for 2 weeks and everything else. So, and then I was going to forgive myself for not standing up for myself sooner, for not, distancing myself.
Sarah, not standing up for yourself sooner. Do we need to replay those videos, ma'am? Do you need to see those videos again where you're screaming at George? Do we need to show you those videos again where you we're screaming at George that there was enough vodka in the bottle when you went to bed for 2 people to have a really good time, and now there was no vodka in the bottle and nobody was going to have a good time? Do we need to see those again? Do we need to see the video of you telling George what to say, rehearsing with him, what he was going to tell the prosecutor so that the charges against you would be dropped? Shut up.
Not fighting for myself, not doing any of that sooner. So I didn't know if this was too much, if I was going out of my boundaries.
I don't.
Oh, and I don't know if I.
Look, the judge will do whatever he wants, but as long as it's said in a way that it's not
It's
contemptuous.
smart-ass and condescending.
Maybe what you could do is you could prioritize it so that the ones that you want to say the most are in order. So this way, if he does shut you down, then at least you got the ones out that you wanted to say,
See, if you're even thinking that the judge is going to shut you down, then that means your brain is already prepared for the fact you know what you wrote was fucked up. You know what you were going to say is fucked up. Period. The end. If you already know that it's wrong, then don't do it. If you know that it's wrong and you go ahead and do it anyway, then you blame everybody else. Ain't that right, Boone? It's everybody else's fault. And why are these people? I don't understand people like this. Okay, that talk to these people. Okay, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to have to, they're not going to call you anymore. So you're not going to have to put money on your phone anymore to hit for their calls. They're not going to call you and ask you to put money on their books. Oh, no. What am I going to do? I don't understand why. If Sarah Boone called me and she read this cockamamie ass letter out to me and said, this is what or even just said this is what I'm planning on saying, I would have been like, hell no. What are you thinking? What is wrong with you? No, don't say that. Absolutely don't say that. What the hell? You know? But these people, they're like, oh, that's just great. Maybe, maybe trim a little bit, just maybe mention the important forgivenesses. Just, prioritize the people that you forgive. That way, in case the judge says, hey, that's way too far, you'll get the important ones out. Ridiculous.
Okay, yes. And thank you for your feedback, but
I thank you for your feedback.
This for everyone.
Hold on a minute. I thank you for your feedback, but I know better. Here we go. Hold on. Let me skip through the. Hold on. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
First, my thing is,
Yeah.
First off, it's not what you think it is. It may be after I read it to you. So maybe at 1 o'clock, if you had 15 minutes or maybe another phone call, I would like to read it to you, okay?
Okay, yeah, that would be great.
Hold the phone.
My thing is, though, it's
Hold up. Hold the phone. Back the milk truck up, put it in park, and throw the keys out the window and put your hands where I can see them. Did this phone call ever take place, this next 15-minute phone call, where she actually read the letter to this person? Because I need to know this. If that is the case, sir, I need to speak to you immediately. Call me. You can email me at the ward. I'm over here at blindjusticepodcast@gmail.com. I have some questions for you, sir. How in the actual F did you hear that letter and think that any part of it was a good idea? Maybe, hell, at the very least, you could have taught her how to say, now I don't remember how to say it because I always say it wrong because she says it wrong. Kintsukuroi instead of Kintsukuroi. Kintsukuroi. Maybe you can teach her how to say. You couldn't have just Googled real quick and put the pronunciation on speaker so she could hear it, so she didn't repeat it and mispronounce it 1,100 times. You couldn't have done that. You know what, though, Sarah? I've been thinking about this. Sarah says, if this person is a documentary guy, he might want a bit of drama. Maybe. But also, he had to have known that Florida, especially, has the freest Freedom of Information Acts, the Sunshine Laws, super easy. And he had to have known that somebody at some point might request these calls and was going to hear this. I don't understand any of this. But here's my thing, though. It's a professional. Fuck you. Shut up, Sarah. All right, let's go back and hear it again. All right, here we go.
I would like to read it to you, okay?
Okay, yeah, that would be great.
But my thing is, though, it's a professional fuck you. Excuse me. It's a professional fuck you.
Yeah.
And I don't want him in the middle of it to say, what does this have relevance to my case? And it is my case. My entire, every detail that I'm giving to you right now, as everyone on the face of the planet knows, this is part of my case, not just specific case details. The specific case details are specific case details because of how I got to that point. So there's a lot, and every
Oh, for the love of Pete. You know who she talks like? She said that whole speech right there sounded like Mojo Jojo. That's who she sounds like. Mojo Jojo. God, she's so ridiculous. Shut up. Oh, really, Carolina? Hear Me Out is doing Diane Downs next. It would be awesome if the both of you could do a collab together on Diane Downs. It would be fantastic. Yeah, I'll reach out to him. Absolutely. I'll reach out, see what he says.
Motive? Is that what you're talking about, Sarah? Because the detectives went over that in the first interview with you.
Yes,
Good
they
day.
did.
It was a good.
Yeah.
Again, she describes us all, and then
She did. She said it was the Ice Cube of days. You know, they went to the store. You know, they woke up. There was no smog. Mama cooked a breakfast with no hog. They went to the store. They got them some wine. They came back. They did a little, painting, music. It was dancing with the dogs. It was fantastic. It was, she was Ice Cube over there. Today was a good day.
she. So I feel like
I'm forgiving is when I'm trying to thing that is involved in my case, which is when I'm trying to let the judge know.
the judge knows.
Yes.
I'm forgiving everybody. I'm making another copy and I'm mailing it to him, or I was going to hand deliver it to him.
Oh, fantastic. See, she already had a plan. James Owens, if you thought that you had any level of control over your client, sir, sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken. Here she goes. She had already planned to do all of that. That's crazy to me. Like, this wasn't a whole, oh, I didn't get to read it all out because because James Owens said it wasn't a good idea. Excuse me, I got that. It was a good idea. So I want the world to, and after I got my life sentence, I was pissed and I fired off this letter. No, it wasn't even like something she did out of like anger. This had forethought to it. Look at you, Boone. Ridiculous. Just ridiculous. I might need to get some of these phone calls for myself. My goodness, she is off the chain.
The courtroom. I mean, what do you think about that?
That's excellent.
What?
I mean, I was going to have this.
Who is this person? I need to know. Like, I don't want to, like, I don't actually need to know. I'm being completely facetious, but I need to understand. Now you got me sounding like a bootleg Hogwarts owl. Who thinks this is a good idea? Why would you tell her this is a good idea? This is like one of the worst ideas in the history of ideas ever. Okay? This isn't like the time that somebody was in the kitchen and they had peanut butter and they had jelly on it. One piece of bread had jelly, one piece of bread had peanut butter, and they put them together and boom, you have the most delicious snack ever. No, that's not like this. This isn't like that time that somebody was sitting around, I don't even know, whoever runs Hostess and was in charge of deciding to think up the Twinkie. This isn't like one of those ideas, okay? This is not the Twinkie. This is not a PB&J. This is literally the worst ass idea ever. Oh my God. Wait a minute. I need to know more about this. She's talking with Peter Gunthel. He's one of the Delphines. They were going to do a documentary on Sarah surviving domestic violence. Did they researched the case at all? Sarah survived domestic violence? When was that? God, it's all we need.
Said one way or another.
That is not excellent, Peter. Okay.
Hear me out. It's not excellent. That is the most unexcellent, dude. It's the worst. I have to agree. I agree with you. Hear me out. That's not excellent. It's not even in the neighborhood of excellent. It's not even in the same city as excellent. Hell no. It's like 11 billion light years away from excellent. And guess what? Oh, wait, hold on. Let me read this. Let me hear this.
Does anyone know the true nature of the fallout she had with the Delpines? I mean, I seem to have missed it.
Delpines.
Basically, it sounds like once the family case was over and they started pressing her for answers on questions, this according to them, she made it clear she wasn't going to answer any of the questions, and then they stopped talking to each other or something. I don't know. But at that point, I mean,
Thank you for the juicy
you
gossip.
don't
I
need to have
know
access
this.
to a person to provide pushback on the narrative. Like, for instance, I've never talked to Sarah.
Me either.
I've never met her.
Me either. Me either. And I can tell you right from where I'm sitting in Texas right now, she's a horrible person. She was a horrible person when I was sitting in Florida. Yes, I agree. Horrible.
And how many hours of video have I done breaking down her life?
Me too.
Sure, there's some and some policy because her victim's dead.
Hold on.
Everything she's lied about, or
Let me rewind this. Hold on.
to, I don't know, witnesses like at Muldoon's, like I did. Find out like all the stuff we know she has lied about, and supposedly, so everything she's lied about, we know all the stuff she's lied about.
Right. I'm with you.
But somehow, because we don't have proof, because her victim's dead to refute it, that is supposed to be taken totally independently. That journal. Oh, well, it might be true. Why? Based on what?
Right. Exactly.
He lies about everything.
Thank you. Let me just point this out to everybody, okay? Let me just put this out into the universe, okay? When somebody lies, they are a liar, okay? There's a difference between somebody misspeaking. Like one time in a video, I said San Diego, or I said, San Diego when I meant San Francisco, okay? Or the other way around, whatever. That's a misspeak. If I were to say something happened in San Diego when I knew that it happened in San Francisco and I intentionally said San Diego instead of San Francisco to confuse somebody, that's a lie. Okay? When somebody lies, then they become a liar. All right? And everything after that is suspect. You can't be believing no liar. And Sarah is a lying liar face who tells lies, who lives in Liarsville on Liars Lane. She is the mayor of Liartown, okay? She is a liar. She is an absolute liar. And by the way, all right, if any of these things had happened, how come it is when she was sitting there in that police station for all those hours, tell me and we'll both know. It was a good day. It was a good day, right? How come she never mentioned any of that? Any of the allegations she now says? How come? How come that is? Think about that. Think about that.
She does self-serving lies nonstop. So why would a self-serving journal describing all the horrible things that are done to her, just like she's in her pre-sentencing or sentencing statement here, saying how the world has done her wrong? Why would that be true?
Why is that suddenly credible? I have to agree with hear me out. Absolutely. You cannot. George is dead. He's dead. He can't defend himself. And that's the most messed up part about this. Okay? Is that you cannot defame legally. You cannot defame somebody who's dead. And I would remind everybody, if you don't remember or if you ever have doubts about what the real deal between George and Sarah is, when the state put on their rebuttal, did they put on their rebuttal case? Yes, they did. When they put on their rebuttal case, I was trying to remember when it happened in court. There was a video of body cam footage played. And Sarah had called the cops again, and they've got George upstairs. We had seen a long time ago that same body cam footage, but it was from Sarah Boone's. It was the officer that interacted with Sarah Boone. At the trial, we got to see the body cam footage of the officer that interacted with George. And just watch that again. That officer knows the score, but what can he do? If George isn't willing to say that Sarah is the one hitting, that Sarah is the one that's violent, that Sarah is the aggressor, he never snitched on her, ever. He would go to jail each and every time. And then Sarah would stand out there acting a donkey's ass. George, I love you. And now she's come out with a journal where the words that he uses in this is accurate. Self-serving. That's completely accurate. Everything that Sarah does is self-serving. She's a terrible human being. She's not above using anybody, including her son. She's disgusting. I got nothing for Sarah Boone. Nothing good anyway.
Thing before she can be believed.
Exactly.
Okay, here we go.
I need for you, and I don't want to bother Lana quite yet because it's too early for her.
Yep.
I mean, what? I mean, am I wrong?
Yes, you're wrong.
It's supposed to be like, oh God, I'm so sorry that this happened. I love George. You know, tears. You know, all this. I mean, is that what it's supposed to be, and that's what everybody's expecting me to say?
No.
I just don't know how much of an impact it really has. That's probably what he wants to hear. I personally doubt that it's going to have much of an impact on what his final sentencing is.
That's correct. Because the judge was going to take into account all of the aggravating factors and the mitigating factors, and he was going to give her a sentence. That's it. That's all. But I mean, he's not wrong here. That's it. That's the first bit of like good advice.
Not gonna happen.
So one of my things, the only part that I'm kind of concerned about is, okay, I'm telling.
Forever Wanderer, he says no, that they are not talking to her anymore. Yeah, and then somebody else that said up there, she presented all this videotape evidence of him abusing her when she's yelling at him.
Thank you. That's exactly what I said. This is how I don't want to say deluded, because I don't actually think that Sarah is like living in a delusion, like in that way. I think that Sarah is very narcissistic. I think that she's got some level of some type of cluster B situation happening. And I think that she actually sees herself as a victim. I mean, I think this is so messed up. Like, I remember when they played those videos in court. I remember them, the ones that Sarah recorded. And I remember being in the moment, because I was streaming it live, like, so taken aback. And then after, the live ended and I didn't have to, I could just watch them and I could sit with it, right? I didn't have to provide commentary, anything like that. Um, I remembered that, holy crap, these are the videos that Sarah was talking about in the interrogation room. She actually thinks that these show her as the victim. Um, you're right. So Sarah said, or sorry, Coffee and Skeleton says, I do remember seeing some video of George destroying the house they were in. Don't know why. Um, there is a video of George smashing a TV, but um, there seemed to be something missing from that, and she was yelling and screaming in the background. I think, hey, Shamina. So we're watching I covered this trial a long time ago. Sarah Boone out of Florida. She is the suitcase murderer. She zipped her boyfriend, Jorge Torres, up in a suitcase and videotaped him begging and pleading for him to let her out. Then she proceeded to go upstairs, do all of the things that one does to prepare for bed, lay down in the bed, but on accident fall asleep. And then when she woke up the next morning, he was inside the suitcase dead. And yeah, so this is a call that she made while she was in jail after the verdict, but before sentencing. So that's what's going on. And as far as I don't know any of like these other people like that are trying to like work with Sarah, um or do some type of like, I don't know anything about like the side drama or anything like that. I only stuck to the case. Like after she was convicted and sentenced, I was done, other than a couple of letters. I made a video of her um like reading what she read at trial, but then I put in the parts that or at sentencing, like the letter that she wrote, her allocution that she read. So I made a video of that but then I put in the parts of that allocution that were left out at the time of sentencing when she sent the judge the letter. I put those parts where they belonged. And I put music, and there's a Star Wars thing. So
when he's asleep.
yeah, absolutely.
That's what Lana said. So my thing is, though, like, in your face, hardcore, point blank between your eyes. That's what Lana said. So my thing is, though, like, in regards to relevancy, in one of them...
Sarah, I don't even know why you're asking this guy anything in the first damn ass place, because it really doesn't matter what advice he gives you, what he suggests for you to do. You're going to do whatever the hell you're going to want to do in the first place. So what is the point of this call anyway?
I'm forgiving Bankowitz and Hobson and Cashman for taking $46,000 of the JAC money, purchase money, to help aid indigent defendants like myself. So I don't want to say what relevancy does that have to do with anything. Well, it's part of my case, and it's what I've had to live through.
Well, did they take $46,000 specifically for your case, or just?
Yes. So all of them went and boo-hooed to the justice system, somebody, and they ended up having a hearing just for me. And
Sarah, They didn't boo-hoo. Again, I have to ask, have you met you? Because if you had met you, why don't you spend some time with you and see how you do? Listen to yourself for a while. It's, the those previous lawyers tried everything. What you wanted them to do was to present a case that was completely unethical, and they knew it, and they weren't willing to breach their ethics to represent you, and you would not move off of yourself being the victim, that this was it went from some very wrong, the wrongest game of hide and seek ever. I've never played a game of hide and seek where I've helped the hider to hide before I played, before I sought them. That's ridiculous. That's not hide and seek. That's not even, I don't even know what game that is, but at the end of the day, um, th- th- at the end of the day, it, see, look what you do to me, Sarah Boone. I lose my words because you're so ridiculous. And let's just keep going. Uh, that's right. Where I was going with this. At the end of the day, they worked with you and they tried to work with you, but the problem is that you wanted them to be like Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta in fucking Grease, hopelessly devoted to you. You wanted them to be there 25/8, even though there's only 24/7. You wanted them to be there 25/8 anytime and every time you called. If you had an idea, you would call. You were a bugaboo. You didn't care about, that's your problem. You don't care and you can't see. You have no empathy for other human beings. It's what you want when you want it, and you will do whatever it takes, no matter what it takes, to achieve your goal. Hey, Alicia, good to see you. Hey. Yeah, you don't give a rat's fat kneecap about anybody but you. They ended up having a hearing just for me. It wasn't about you, idiot. They were trying to get paid.
And supposedly how awful and monstrous and just how terrible I was. And they all asked for.
Well, let me just say this phone call that you're on isn't doing anything to change any opinions about how terrible and monstrous you are. In fact, you're confirming how terrible and monstrous you are. They just wanted to get paid.
$15,000 and Cashman asked for $16,108. So it's all of this shit that they lied about, and then they, in my opinion, robbed the JAC and robbed me of my, precious dollars. Just read it.
What dollars? What precious dollars? You didn't put in on this man? If anybody should be complaining, it should be the taxpayers of Florida, not you. You're in there in jail getting 3 hots and a cot. Guess who was footing the bill for that? Me and the other Florida taxpayers. Shut up. My precious. What are you, Gollum now?
To you at 1:00.
Okay, read it to me at 1:00.
I hope you have a super day, and I will talk to you here in a little while regardless. Okay?
All right, call me at 1. Bye-bye.
Hope you have a super day. Fuck off.
Thank you.
We met at Devaney's to.
Okay, there we go.
All right. So that's it, right? That's the end of the call. I think so. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I don't know. Let's wrap this up. I think that Sarah seeks advice from people because I think she wants somebody to blame if it goes south, right? Eventually, we're going to see that Sarah is going to come out against anybody and everybody that told her that this allocution statement was a good idea, that she should say it with her whole chest and 10 toes down, you know, all the things. And eventually, what she's going to turn around and do, just like Diane Downs has done, is say, I was trusting. I was alone in the world. I had nobody. And I thought these people were my friends. I thought they had my best interest at heart. And it's going to, she's going to flip it around, and it's, um, it's going to be their fault. And no, Coffee, I got what you were saying. I don't know if you're talking to somebody in the chat, but Coffee and Skeleton says, sorry if you misunderstood what I was saying. I saw in the video, I wasn't trying to say George was abusing her or tearing the house down. I just remember seeing a TV get hit with a bat. Yes. And that's the thing, that there was something very off about that video. Not not in a negative way towards George. Like, it seemed that the camera turned on and stayed on, eh, like we missed something before that. Like, it seemed set up. That's what it seemed like. And there was something very off about that video. There was something off about each and every one of those videos, if we're all being honest. It was just different things that were off about the videos. Like, even when I'm like it's almost been a year since Sarah's trial and her sentencing. She was sentenced on December 3rd. Anyway, like looking back on everything that happened pre-trial and then during the trial and now. Like, I don't know about, all of the, maybe people working with her and trying to put together a documentary. Like I said, you know, when Sarah was sentenced, unless something legally came up, like her appellate attorney withdrawing, like I covered that. But I've walked away from that. Hold on a minute. I wrote Kelly's birthday down. Did I miss your birthday, Kelly? While I'm thinking about it, did I maybe not go live on? Yeah, I think I did. Oh no, November 21st. We're not there yet. We got a couple of days. Anyway, sorry. Sarah makes me fractious. So I don't know anything about that, like side quest or whatever. But I feel like Sarah does and says things in such a way where later she can have like plausible deniability. And I think it's always interesting how um we all can watch the exact same video, the videos that she herself recorded. And I'll never forget how insistent she was in that police station, at the cop shop, how much of a victim she was and how she had documented these horrible things that George had done to her. And then we see these videos and I'm like, bro, were you even there? Like, do you, I mean, what is happening here? Like, how are you seeing this way? Literally nobody else sees it that way. George was asleep. So you're telling me that you're so afraid of this man and that you walked on eggshells and that, you learned to be hyper vigilant and so that you could look out for any of the signs, the warning signs that come before before the abuse, right? You were doing all of that, yet you woke him up. And then You had the nerve to sit your ass on the stand and talk about letting sleeping dogs lie. That was also in your allocution statement that you wrote out and then eventually sent to the court. But you were the sleeping dog in that analogy. I've never seen, yeah, it's terrible. It's, like I don't understand it. And I understand wanting, Sarah is like an interesting character. I don't want to say that she's an interesting person because I think that's giving her way too much credit. She's more of like an interesting character. How many times did I say in this live and every other live I've ever done about her, have you met you, Sarah? She's one of the, you cannot help but wonder, like, what all those ideas that have thoughts and stuff that are swirling around in that head of yours, and these are the ones that these are the ones that won, these are the ones you thought were a good idea. This is the story that you came up with. um so I can understand people being interested in trying to understand what makes her tick. I think the problem comes in where um it's a very fine line when you are studying a person and trying to get their story and um, crossing that line into some type of like friendship, which is why I probably will never have, a huge channel because the thought of talking to somebody like Sarah makes me uncomfortable. Not because I don't think that I could keep up with her or have a conversation with her. It's just that I personally believe that the only way to get any information out of Sarah is to be a yes person. You have to be a yes man to talk to Sarah. And I have no inclination to do that. It's not worth it for me. It's like I don't, and it concerns me that I have to agree with what Hear Me Out said. There are many other ways of going about getting Sarah Boone's story that don't involve promoting her in any positive way, quite frankly. Um, she's not the victim in this situation. If you look at just all of the voluminous evidence, the power dynamic. Sarah was the one who was bringing in money. It was Sarah's apartment. It was Sarah's vehicle. She had the upper hand. And um, there are just a lot of, and then like talking to the neighbors, the neighbors were interviewed, the ones that shared the wall. And their statements prior to trial at the time of the crime and their statements, their testimony at trial was very compelling. They heard something so loud that it shook the wall. Okay. And I want you to understand that's like a big deal. Okay. Now, Sarah didn't live in a place that like gets an actual landfall hurricane, okay, where she lives. But the remnants of hurricanes go through there all the time. So they have to be able to stand up to hurricane force winds. And like for you to shake a wall, um is nothing to like snub your nose at. Sorry. Snub your nose at. It's it had to have been loud. And the only thing that I can think of that would cause a noise like that was that George was in that suitcase when she pushed it down the stairs. It explains why the suitcase was like moved around, why it was upside down in the first place. It explains some of the injuries that George had on his body. Um, I think, and I still think to this day, I thought it then and I think it now. I think that George was likely trying to leave Sarah. I think that is what precipitated all of this. And the reason I think that is because, and this came in the trial too, whenever the crime scene investigator took the stand, the one that that photographed the suitcase itself. What was interesting to me was Sarah's story. So Sarah's story was that the reason that the suitcase was even in the living room in the first place is because they were doing a bit of pre-spring cleaning, and they were putting items of clothing that they no longer wanted into that suitcase. Okay. Well, when the suitcase was photographed, there were things in that suitcase, and that the suitcase was broken and they were going to give it away. All right. But there was personal paperwork of George's in that suitcase. There was a syringe of Valium in that suitcase. You mean to tell me that you're giving away a suitcase and you don't check it to make sure that there's no personal identifying information, and, that you didn't leave one of your prescriptions in there? Hey, little D, good to see you. So, like, that didn't make sense. I just don't think that, you know, I think that Sarah and George had a very tumultuous relationship, and I think that I think Sarah was the instigator of violence, and I do think that George reacted, and I think he hit her back. I do. Neither one is right. But I don't think that Sarah should be held up as a survivor of domestic violence. I just don't. I think that's reprehensible. I think it's a dangerous pedestal to even think about putting her on. Like, I don't understand if that were the case, if that's what they had intended to do, why? That makes absolutely no sense to me. None at all. And it's actually a slap in the face, no pun intended. It's actually does a disservice, and it is insulting to actual victims of domestic violence, actual survivors of domestic violence. You know? Anyway, let me get off my soapbox. I feel like I did too much and I got all yelly at the end, and I'm sorry about that. I wanted to keep this light, but it's so disrespectful. I can't, I don't even understand the thought process that would go into that at all. I mean, sure, interview Sarah and get her quote unquote side of the story, right? There's nothing wrong with that. I think, you know, um, but don't do it under false pretenses either. Like, don't, if I were to interview Sarah, I would tell Sarah straight from the beginning, listen, I ain't trying to be your friend. I ain't trying to help you get out of prison. I think you are exactly where you belong. But tell you what, I'll give you 2 15-minute phone calls on my dime, and you try to convince me otherwise. I'd like to hear your side of the story. That's it. That's all. I don't think that I would. There's no way I could. There's no way I think that it's appropriate or a good idea to go into it trying to yes man her. I think that's ridiculous. She's not a victim at all. If anything, she's victimized multiple people, George being the last one. She's just, I did watch a little bit of her, actually quite a bit of her, her family court case. And she's a piece of work and is not above, using and weaponizing and guilting and all the things to her own son. She doesn't care about what she does and what she says, how to her son impacts him. She doesn't care. Her needs, her wanting money on her books, she wants to be able to talk to her son whenever she wants to be able to talk to him, regardless if that's healthy for her son. A true mom, a real mom will say, I want to do whatever is in the best interest of my child, no matter how uncomfortable or how it hurts me. If I thought that it was in the best interest of my children not to speak to them, I wouldn't speak to them. I would do whatever I had to do to make sure that my kids had whatever they needed and grew up in the most healthy, best way that I knew how. But if a professional said, you're toxic to your kids, and they said, don't talk to them or they need healing or something, you know what I mean? Like Sarah doesn't care about that. She does not care at all. At all. It's sad. It's bad enough that he is going to grow up. He already knows what his mom did. He lived with his mom. She's an alcoholic, period. End of sentence. That's it. That in and of itself is a very dysfunctional childhood. I mean, even in that last body cam footage, right? Who does she call at 2:00 in the damn ass morning? Her ex-husband, who is the primary caregiver to their son. Sarah didn't care about that. She didn't care about waking up the whole entire house. No. She needed her spare key. Alicia, there's been that's been something that's been said a lot, that Brian and Sarah, there's a video of their son getting into that suitcase. I can't say whether there is or whether there isn't because I've never seen it. So, anyway. Okay. Well, I guess that's all I have for you guys tonight. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow night, but I'll be live the same time at 9:00. So, Central, 10 Eastern. So I'm going to let you guys go for now. Have a great rest of your night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up on the stream or a thumbs down, whichever you feel is appropriate. And if the YouTube gives the option to hype the video, do your girl a favor, hype the video. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great rest of the night.